A hike should bring peace, freedom, and love, but sometimes the trail leads straight into terror. In August 2004, Jason Allen and Lindsay Cutshall were young, vibrant, and full of faith. The two met while working as Christian camp counselors in Northern California, instantly connecting over shared values and an adventurous spirit. Their friends described them as inseparable, radiating kindness and a sense of calm that made others feel safe. When their season at camp ended, they decided to take a short getaway before returning home. Driving up the rugged beauty of Highway 1, they stumbled upon Fishhead Beach, an isolated stretch of coastline near Jenner, Sonoma County. It wasn't a designated campsite, but that didn't matter to Jason and Lindsay. The wide sand, the crashing Pacific, and the endless starry sky felt like a divine gift. They laid their sleeping bags side by side, prayed together, and drifted into the sounds of the surf. But the morning sun revealed a nightmare. Both Jason and Lindsay had been shot in the head, execution style, as they slept. Their parents were crushed. How could anyone look upon two innocent souls and commit such brutality? The local sheriff called it one of the most senseless crimes he had ever seen. Investigators scoured the area, chasing down every lead. Some suspected drifters, others whispered about cult activity along the coast, but every theory led nowhere. For 13 years, the case hung unsolved, haunting the small towns nearby and tormenting the families who had to live without answers. Then, in 2017, a shocking break came. A man named Sean Gallen, a local with a violent past and a reputation for disturbing behavior, confessed to the murders. He claimed he stumbled upon the couple and killed them simply because he could. No robbery, no revenge, no motive beyond a twisted urge to destroy. To Jason's and Lindsay's families, that truth was more horrifying than any theory. Their lives ended not for who they were, but because of one man's cruelty. The beach, once a place of wonder, became forever stained by loss. Friends describe how they can no longer look at the ocean the same way, how even the crash of waves sounds like a reminder of violence. Jason and Lindsay embodied love, faith, and a shared future. That it was stolen so coldly serves as a reminder that danger can intrude even in the most beautiful, serene moments. Picture yourself lying beside the person you love, watching the stars, believing the world is safe, when suddenly darkness takes everything away. Could you ever again close your eyes under the night sky without wondering if someone is standing just beyond the edge of the firelight? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Appalachian Trail is an American treasure stretching over 2,000 miles from Georgia to Maine. For many, it's a pilgrimage of endurance and self-discovery. But in 1990, two friends, David Coughlin and Jeffrey Hood, discovered its darker side. They were experienced outdoorsmen, confident in their ability to handle the wild. On a spring trip in Pennsylvania, they set up camp, prepared for another night of laughter, conversation, and starlight. But nearby, a drifter named Paul David Cruz lurked. Cruz was a man with a fractured past, drifting through life with violence following in his shadow. Carrying a rifle, he approached their camp under the guise of being another hiker. Encounters with strangers aren't unusual on the Appalachian. People meet, swap trail stories, and continue on. But Cruz had no stories, no warmth, only malice. In the dead of night, without provocation, he attacked. Hood was killed swiftly, but Coughlin fought desperately for his life. Imagine grappling with a man carrying a gun, deep in the woods, knowing no one could hear you scream. The forest echoed with struggle, but in the end, Coughlin was shot too, left to die on the trail he cherished. Their murders rattled the hiking community. The Appalachian, once a symbol of escape, now felt like a hunting ground. News spread, warning hikers to travel in groups, to be cautious of strangers, to remember that not every smile on the trail masks good intentions. Law enforcement launched a manhunt, eventually capturing Cruz. His trial revealed a man who killed not for gain, but because he could, echoing the senselessness of Jason and Lindsay's case. He was sentenced to death, though the sentence turned to life imprisonment after years of appeals. Yet the true punishment was felt by the community, a once trusted trail now shadowed by paranoia. Even today, hikers speak about the attack in hushed tones, warning newcomers that while nature is beautiful, it is not the only threat. Trees may stand silent, but human darkness moves among them. As you zip your tent and listen to the quiet, ask yourself, could you drift into sleep knowing that, somewhere in the shadows, a stranger might be watching, waiting, and ready to strike? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. In May 1988, Rebecca Wight and Claudia Brenner were a young couple in love, seeking nothing more than a weekend of peace along Pennsylvania's Appalachian Trail. For them, the trail was not just about hiking, it was about freedom. At a time when LGBTQ+ couples faced discrimination and fear, the woods offered a refuge where they could be themselves. Carrying modest supplies and bound by affection, they walked hand in hand, the spring air filled with wildflowers and birdsong. To them, the forest must have felt like sanctuary, but sanctuaries are fragile. Watching from the shadows was Stephen Roy Carr, a drifter armed with a rifle and filled with hatred. He camped near the same section of trail, quietly observing the couple. The more he watched, the more his rage grew. That night, as Rebecca and Claudia shared an intimate moment in their tent, Carr erupted in violence. He fired through the fabric, bullets tearing into Rebecca, who was struck 5 times. Claudia, though hit by a bullet herself, ran barefoot into the darkness. Imagine the terror of sprinting through a forest, bleeding, stumbling over roots, heart racing, every sound behind you magnified into the thought of pursuit. She ran until she reached safety, but by then, Rebecca had succumbed to her injuries. Carr fled but was eventually captured, his hatred laid bare in court. He was sentenced to life, but the sentence could not undo the pain inflicted. Rebecca's death became more than a personal tragedy. It became a symbol of violence against LGBTQ+ people, of how intolerance could find its way into even the most secluded havens. Claudia later wrote about the attack, determined to ensure Rebecca's story was remembered not just as a murder, but as a testament to the dangers of hate. To this day, hikers on that section of the trail report feeling uneasy, as though the trees themselves carry memory, as though silence there is heavier than elsewhere. For those who know the story, every step echoes with loss. Imagine retreating into the woods to find love and acceptance, only to be met with hatred and bullets instead. Would you ever again feel safe seeking refuge in solitude, knowing the danger might not be nature itself but the human darkness waiting in silence? We want to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments. The wilderness promises beauty, but beauty often hides shadows. Jason and Lindsay, David and Jeffrey, Rebecca and Claudia, they sought joy, peace, and freedom, only to be met by cruelty in its rawest form. If you want more stories that keep you looking over your shoulder, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and add your thoughts in the comments. Tell us which case disturbed you the most. We'll be watching to see who's brave enough to answer. And remember, danger doesn't always strike with warning. Sometimes it waits until the moment you feel most safe.